she'll appreciate it. So.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
why don't we start the show off with the match? We'll just go through that, or should we just call it Brady splits his pants?
Brady shits
I
his
heard about
pants.
that.
Well, he shit the bed in the first half for sure, and then he split
did,
his
yeah.
pants. That's all you see today is that Brady split his pants.
Well, I thought that was a
Wow.
SpongeBob episode. I ripped my pants.
And you know what? Like, just the little bits that I saw and everything else about the whole thing. Like, they talk about Peyton Manning and getting onto a network and doing some football analyst type work. The shots he was taking at Brady, like, he's got some zingers. He's got comedic timing. We all know that. But I mean, beyond that,
He's a
like,
funny guy.
he was really good. Like, I kind of felt like he stole the show. Golf aside, he stole the show, right? So you're kind of like, now I start to see why they want him on TV, because he seems a pretty natural fit for it. So
You know what's funny is his little brother there joined Twitter yesterday or the day before, and immediately Tom Brady crushed him. But holy crap, he's a machine on it now, eh? Like, he's just tweet, 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 and he's fucking funny.
yeah.
So X
Actually,
won't follow, but he'll fill up your timeline.
yeah.
Well, he's new to it. He'll probably slow down.
That's okay, but I mean, he's probably had like 18 years of build up to being able to speak freely, right? So, it's like the kid who has the super overbearing parents and he finally moves out on his own and you can't find him for 3 months because he's just pissed in someone's basement the whole time, right? Just tears it up. So maybe that's Brady. He's moved out of New England. He's out on his own.
We're like Catholic girls, eh?
Yeah, or Catholic girls. I didn't want to go there, Maddie, but okay. I agree. Dirty little Catholic girls. All good. But yeah, no, it was not bad golf. I mean, but that's not why anyone really tuned in, I think. But
no, I think
overall,
they got exactly what people tuned in for, was Manning giving it to Brady.
Yeah, and you know what? I would actually like to see, after now the Last Dance has all been wrapped up, Jordan's a big golfer. I'd like to see a guy like Jordan go out there on the course with a Peyton Manning. And Manning, I don't think, cares who's across from him. He took shots at some pretty high-profile guys, and he's won too. It'd be pretty cool to see Michael Jordan get a couple pot shots taken at him by a guy like Peyton Manning. That would be great TV. It'd be worth watching,
It'd be good.
And Jordan's a good shit talker, so I mean, he'd be good at it too.
Brady got some good ones back at him.
Oh yeah, they took their shots, but I mean, all in all, just the mix of personalities would be pretty cool. They could do a lot of things even with that format, and it's a way for some of these older golfers who maybe aren't going to win a trophy again
but get
to sort of be in the news, right?
Get somebody other than Tiger though.
Well, but I mean, you get like a Ben Hogan or Jack Nicklaus.
Somebody who's got some personality. Somebody who has some
golf.
Like Bubba Watson.
Tiger Woods sells, right? Tiger Woods is what makes people tune in on Sunday.
Well, yeah, to win a tournament, but he didn't. I don't know. I think they need somebody with some more personality.
I'd like to see John Daly, Michael Jordan, Peyton Manning, pick another dude. John Daly and Michael Jordan.
Bubba Watson would be awesome.
Trump. There you go. I thought actually a golfer, but okay, that would be good.
Just the
personality. Yeah, that would be a good foursome. Mic them all up and tear it loose. Put her on the Ocho, whatever. ESPN 9, 10, 8, whatever. Let them loose. It'd be good TV. It's entertaining.
It certainly is.
We could use a laugh. So, it was good. I hope they do some more of that stuff. And it was all for charity. So what better reason do you need, right?
Yep.
Why not?
Charity.
So, charity.
Hey, Brenda Lynn, thanks for joining. And before we move on, I just wanted to thank my best and favorite cousin. She came into town and brought me plum dumplings and pierogies, and oh my God, they're so good.
Did you grow up near the garlic?
So good.
I certainly did, man. Certainly did.
I know you did.
They were so good, so good, so good, so good.
That's
I'm
awesome.
so fat and full.
Cousin of the year candidate right there, hey?
Yeah, it sure is. So what should we move to next? Let's move to the CFL. Let's talk about
CFL?
Ambrose and where we think we're going with all this. Let's start with Matt. What are your thoughts, bud? And then we'll move to Heath because he may have a little more to say.
Maybe not.
Well, just a quick summary. Basically, the gist of what he went after was that the Grey Cup has moved now. We've lost the 2020 Grey Cup here in Regina. We'll host it in 2022, and Hamilton will still host in 2021, assuming we have a season next year. This year, if we are able to play a truncated season, it will be the better ranked of the two competing teams in the final that ends up hosting it, because I think it's, given the circumstances, about the most reasonable plan you can come up with, and I still think the chances of it actually happening are extremely slim. We'll have to see, but I mean, especially the CFL, out of all other leagues, I can't see the CFL doing without fans. They don't have the media exposure. They don't have those dollars to keep them funded or subsidize them. Right.
Well, they're so gate driven, right? So without a gate, that's severely crippling to the bottom line. So
big time.
The thing that kind of made me scratch my head a little bit, and I don't know, maybe you guys can speak to it a little better, help me understand it, but they said there won't be any games until September. But yet they're talking in the next month, they're going to start letting these guys practice. Okay, next month being June, what are they doing for July and August? Just practice for 2 months? September seems a pretty long way out. Is September something they're shooting for with limited, like getting some fans in the stadium, like with social distancing being in place?
I would think that, unlike the other leagues, theirs is contingent on trying to get asses in the seats.
They just can't do it any other way. So
for that gap,
up 2 months of playing time though, too, right? Like
for that gap though, Heath, to fill the gap, the Spring League has offered to jump in and play some exhibition games to help get them in shape and that sort of thing. Provide some football down at some of their facilities. They've offered to play by the CFL rules. They've also said, something like that would obviously have to be approved by the CFLPA. It would all be above board and that sort of thing. But I mean, it's definitely an idea. It's kind of interesting because they've got a little bit of money.
Yeah, no, and rightly so, but.
So maybe there'll be a little bit of a partnership there?
Maybe, yeah, true. But does the CFL really want to get into a partnership that they can't get out of?
I don't know if it's something that they can't get out of or not. But I mean, basically the way the Spring League, the way the spokesperson for the Spring League said was basically that it's in their best interests for the CFL to exist, because a lot of their players wind up making it to the CFL, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no,
it's a place where it's a place where their players aspire to be. So they absolutely want the CFL to be there.
So yeah, it could be a good arrangement for sure. For sure. I just thought that the whole September thing, and I think it is totally based on fans, but
it must be.
Like if you really get super aggressive with the social distancing, I mean, we have a 30,000 seat stadium. I think you could put 5,000 in it. One person every 6 seats is well beyond 6 feet. And then maybe graduate into one every 4 seats or something. Like you could roll it over time. But the concerning part about September to me is now you're in direct competition with the NFL. And CFL's numbers on TV go down a little bit during that NFL crossover, whether you like it or not, right? So, and being as starved as sports fans are, how many are going to just pile on? Like maybe it won't be a big difference. Like they'll watch everything and anything because it's on finally. So I don't know, the direct competition side of it to a league of that size could be troublesome, but
well, I don't know. The CFL is at least smart enough though that they stopped competing with the NFL directly on Sundays.
Yeah. So, but like starting your season in September when they start theirs in September is.
Oh yeah, you're competing for attention.
Yeah. Yeah, well, for sure. So, and then the hub cities thing. It doesn't sound like the CFL really wants to do the hub cities, but do they have a choice?
I did hear that could be a possibility as well. And that
Yeah.
was hilarious because I heard a great quote from Brandon Banks. Said, because they were talking about the two hub cities, if they did it, would be Regina and Winnipeg.
Yeah, no,
Based on
Edmonton's in that
location and
conversation
facilities and COVID numbers. Brandon Banks
Yeah.
says, you mean I'm going to have to go spend 3 months in Regina? I'm not going.
You know what, Brandon? We don't want you.
too. Yeah. Here's
Does
my
he not
thought.
know that Winnipeg is east of Regina? The East would probably play out of Winnipeg. He's going to Winnipeg, lucky bastard. He'll know he's not from there. He has all his own teeth. Anyway.
Here's my thoughts on it. I don't think that the league is going this year. I think they already know that the league is not going this year, and they're trying to figure out what their angle is. And they can't completely at this point say, no, it's just straight up canceled, because they need to figure out some financial details before they can do that.
But there's a thorough process that you probably should be going through before you pull that trigger and say it. And they have not done that. And fans know
I think
that.
I think that's it, is they realize they can't just pull the pin right now, even if the writing's on the wall, because the optics are that they didn't do their due diligence or give it the fair shot, right?
Right. So, I mean, lots of fans, good hardcore CFL fans like ourselves would be like, I'm going to call you on your bullshit. And rightly so. You didn't do your due diligence. So don't feed me this bullshit line when, you maybe should have got on it sooner or did a little better job. I mean, yeah, I think I'm optimistic that there's going to be something, but I mean, even if they do get to that point where they're going to cancel the whole thing, you got to do it right. You got to do it right.
Okay,
whatever your decision.
Let's say the season does start and we go into this this playoff that they want to do, where the host of the Grey Cup is the team that has the highest regular season record. Do you like that idea?
Well, the only problem I can see with that idea is what if, say, for some unknown reason, say in the West, Edmonton's the division winner. We're playing out of Regina as a hub city. We're going to go up to Edmonton now.
Well, no, I would assume
that
I would assume that only happens if there isn't a hub city. Otherwise, what's the point of having a Grey Cup in a separate location if you've got a hub city? So I'm assuming that when they said that they meant if there is no hub city.
Well, to me, I think that it sounds good. It does sound good. But if you don't have your hometown fans, is there really a hometown advantage other than you get to sleep in your own bed?
Well, how about this one?
Football's the only league that has their championship game outside of the major North American sports, that has their final game outside of one of the teams playing in its home. So it's not really like foreign.
Well, Super Bowl.
That's what I mean. Like football. Football's the only sport that does it. Baseball doesn't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Hockey doesn't. Yeah, sure, they're multi-game. They're multi-game series,
they do the
but
Memorial Cup, for example, in junior hockey, right?
But I mean, if you can't have a complete festival, there's no pre-planning to the events. Nothing. It's just show up, play ball.
Let me throw this at you, though. A place like Montreal that necessarily doesn't have the football facilities capabilities necessarily built in, right? Like they usually have to try and mobilize the Big O and that sort of thing. And I would imagine that's not something that you can just snap your fingers and make happen.
In a week, probably not, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there are places, and based on COVID numbers and everything else, though, too, that may be a lot more plausible.
Yeah, I suppose Montreal right now, the way they're looking, it's probably not looking very good.
Hey, Deb. Hey, Corey.
So, I mean, we'll have to see. And the other part, too, that kind of makes me scratch my head a little, too, is, with something like that, you fully commit to it at the beginning. Well, by the time you get to the end of that season, what if the numbers and the COVID and everything else is looking to the point where it's like, hey, we can open this up a little more? You have to almost have a plan for once you're rolling, maybe potentially to be able to handle opening it up, So a hub city like Regina, I think because we're football crazy here, if you have to play a BC versus Edmonton game in a hub city, BC Edmonton in Saskatchewan would get some fans. It would. If I had to compare it to BC hosting a Riders Edmonton game, for sure we're going to get a better turnout here. Like in terms of hub cities, I think as you open it up, you also have to consider, because you're gate driven, how many people in that hub are going to actually show up and watch some of these games.
Well, that's going to be a whole new issue. That's going to be a lot of economics.
You'll have to have some revenue sharing. And if you're only putting 5,000 asses in the seats.
You said it with the Memorial Cup. When we had it here in Regina, and even World Juniors. When Canada's not playing at the World Juniors in some places, there's nobody watching the Czechs and the Germans play each other. It's very sparse. So depending on the location, some of these teams that aren't in the home center have to be football crazy markets. They have to be hockey crazy markets if it's hockey. Like, you need those fans, then you got to get them somehow, right? So we may have a lot of football to watch here. So
I think we're going to have NFL to watch, and it'll be empty stadiums. Or very sparse stadiums.
They can afford to.
Exactly.
I heard they were going to lose, what was it, 200 million? Maybe it's top of my head. It was hundreds of millions of dollars a week with no fans in the stands.
And I think,
Yeah, like even they're taking a hit, but they can handle that hit because
they've got the lucrative
other things.
They've got the lucrative television contract, and they've got many, many, many revenue streams which the CFL just does not have.
But that's the thing. When you think about how many revenue streams they're missing out on by game day revenue, holy shit!
They've been missing out on them for years. For years, they've never gone that direction. The CFL.
No, I mean the NFL.
Oh,
if they weren't to play, right, they'd be missing out on all that. Like, holy crap, that's ridiculous. Would you say 200 million or hundreds of millions a game?
Oh, it's
a couple $100 million a week. Sorry, for the league.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you consider but not just tickets in the stands, but like your luxury boxes and all that kind of stuff, your VIP services, your parking, your concessions.
You're also talking about a team like the Dallas Cowboys or the Redskins being evaluated, their valuation coming in at like $3-4 billion. They can, you've got that kind of value. You can lose a couple $100 million, and they're going to be okay. They can weasel their way through it, right? Yeah.
There's some cushion, and I don't think any of these guys. I don't think that any of those teams are bankrolled by poor people.
No, not at all. But the other thing I was thinking, and you guys can maybe stop me if I'm out of whack here in this line of thinking, but why not just open up the online? Totally out of whack. If we're if it's crazy to start just the completely open up the online gambling on games, like get the league in on it. I know a lot of leagues don't like online gambling, or they're worried about they're talking about hosting hockey. Well, we can move the NHL in a bit, but Vegas is going to be a host city there, or a hub city there. Let's open up the gambling. Let them make their lost revenue up by doing that. Let it rip. They've always been scared of it. Now they're hard up against the wall. Sometimes you got to do strange things.
It'll be whether
Like,
governments want to open that genie.
The things you'll do for a case of macaroni when you're a poor university student. Do you know what I mean? That kind of idea.
Yeah.
Matty just smiles. He's like, "Oh, I know. I it was good macaroni. All good."
Let's move on to the new, the 2014 NHL playoff and the new news we received.
Mm-hmm. New news. Yeah. So I don't know. I wasn't too sure about the 2014 thing, but hey, they got to make a line in the sand somewhere, right? And some of the teams that were in between that 16 and 24, Shea Weber actually with the Habs, they were almost statistically eliminated when the season stopped. And he came out and said, yeah, it is unfair, but hey, we get to play. So, what more do you want? I mean, they're playing hockey. That's the bottom line. You can haggle over it all you want, but what do you guys think? Hub cities, not hub cities, cut off?
Well, so the players have agreed to this 2014 format now, right?
That is correct.
So that's
Yeah.
really the big development, I guess, because now they've kind of got it all laid out, and they know who's going to play who theoretically, if they can, make this happen. They know who's going to play who in their play-in rounds or whatever. And so apparently Chicago is drawn, or Edmonton is drawn Chicago. So there's some people very pissed off in Edmonton right now, because they're very concerned about Patty Kane and his ability to take something over, eh?
Well, and they were even talking, one proposal was thrown out there, I guess, very early in the process of a 3-on-3, right?
Yeah, and
nobody wanted to face Carey Price and Patty Kane was the rumor.
Kane and Price were the two, yeah.
And I'm like, whatever, man. Like, Patty Kane's good, but shit, you have no business winning if you don't have another guy that's good. Who's talking? Like, if you're in a 3-on-3, I'd be as worried about McDavid and Draisaitl as I would.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's not like you don't have a fucking answer back for it. Like,
people in Edmonton are complaining that they're going to have to play against Patrick Kane for their play-in round to get into the actual playoffs. Well, you guys got Connor and fucking McDavid.
Yeah, and how many years in the last 10 have you even made the playoffs in Edmonton? Shut the fuck up. You got playoff hockey. Like, do you want to go back to the old days or what? I mean, to me, you've got hockey. You've got a good team. You've got weapons that make it a good team. Make the best of it, right? Like, let's play.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that we didn't have that last 10 games for the Oilers to choke and miss the playoffs, but...
Well, Kyle's he's just soaking it in.
I'm just
soaking it in.
Soaking
Or he muted his own mic on the board just so he could swear.
I can't make Matt feel bad. It's like the anniversary of his one Stanley Cup today.
It is. That was fucking good times. They had Lanny McDonald on the Green Zone today discussing some reminiscences.
His mustache? Were they discussing his mustache?
They sure did. Yeah, they asked when he realized that was his thing, and he said there was a point in time when he had it and he grew it for 2 or 3 years, and then it was about the third year in the off season he started like growing it out and to the sides more and bigger, right? And he had 2 companies come to him and offer him contracts if he shaved, and he said that was what made him realize that his mustache was his fucking ticket to being him or whatever. So, what a super good guy, though. Wow.
Kevin says he agrees with you, Matt, but I'm not sure what he agrees about. Maybe Lanny McDonald's mustache. About Edmonton. About Edmonton.
Oh yes. Well, we all hate Edmonton, don't we? Except those who cheer for them, I guess.
I think I'm a Vegas Knights fan now. But I do like McJesus.
You and Rod Peterson, eh?
Why not? I love Vegas, man.
I like Vegas. They play entertaining hockey.
Oh, I just love Vegas. So if it's a reason to go there to watch a hockey game, then if I'm going to Vegas, then I'm a happy guy.
So you going to cheer for the Raiders now, too?
Well, let's not go that far. But I do like Chucky, though. I do like Gruden. So
in 2 years, when Aaron Rodgers gets traded,
well,
Oakland Raider.
But I'm tattooed with the Packers, so I'm kind of stuck with them for life.
You could just run black marker over it and make it into a Raiders logo of some kind.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's what everybody who tattooed their old lady's name on their arms says too, eh?
Yeah.
Maybe
Are you saying Rodgers is my old lady?
In Vegas. We can meet up in Vegas, and you can get liquored up, and Maddie and I'll take you to some lap dances and then get you a tattoo before we drag you back to the hotel. Cover that shit up.
Okay, count me in.
We'll get you Las Vegas Raiders tattoo to cover up your Green Bay Packers. How's that?
You probably have to get me pretty drunk for that to happen.
I would get Aaron Rodgers' face tattooed on your chest.
Oh. You have to get me really drunk for that to happen.
You could wake up like the Hangover with the Mike Tyson tattoo in
just
Vegas.
Don't tattoo my face.
Yeah, I honestly wonder about stuff like that because I can't recall ever seeing anybody remotely like that with an attitude as far as tattooing goes, right? Like usually if they smell booze, they'll usually refuse to tattoo you, right?
Yeah, well...
Well, they don't want
Unless
you to
you
bleed out.
give them something fun.
Yeah, they don't want to be liable, right?
Yeah.
No, for sure.
For your bad
For sure.
decisions.
So you're saying I got to buy my own tattoo gun before we go down there, and I'll do it myself?
Yes, and take art lessons.
No.
Art. Doesn't sound like he's
It'll
really
look like
in
a
it for
fucking
the.
finger painting
for
from
the
a
accuracy.
4-year-old. All good. Anyway, speaking of Vegas and face tattoos, it made me think about Mike Tyson here. 53 years old. Hey, did you hear that? He's coming back.
I did.
He looks good, man.
Holyfield's
Like a
talking
pipe
about
dream.
coming back. He looks all right. Hey, for 53. I
Holyfield's
wish
out
I
of retirement
could do
too.
that. Holyfield probably doesn't know what planet he's on. That dude's punch drunk. I'm sure of it.
Doesn't matter.
But I
I'd
mean-
watch Holyfield Tyson 3.
Yeah. Well, he can bite the other ear off
That's right.
now.
Tyson's hungry.
Yeah.
I was just thinking I could see Holyfield coming in with those ear guards like they wear in
Wrestling.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like old Greco-Roman wrestling earmuffs on.
Exactly. Yeah.
There you go. No, well, and the other one too is Tyson was offered $20 million to do bare knuckle fighting championship, whatever the hell you want to call it. Blah, word ain't coming out right. Yeah, bare knuckle fighting, $20 million.
Oh, Jesus.
I think he turned it down,
Yeah.
though, didn't he?
He did, but I mean, at the same time,
How
when
that-
Tyson gets inside bare knuckle, like that match might only last 30 seconds, but that's half his matches anyway.
I'm betting he can
Holy
make
shit.
bigger money than that if he holds out for the right fight.
Like,
And he won't
you've
have
seen
to
some of his
and he
old
won't
fights.
have to mess up his knuckles doing it.
Well, you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's boxing, right? I mean, there's big money in
He's-
boxing for those primo
He's still
matches.
53
You're right.
years old. A 53-year-old man hitting another man in the head too many times might mess up his hand forever.
Well, it
George
might
Foreman
be
came
rough
back
on
in
his
his
hands, but at
50s.
the same time, I'm trying to picture Mike Tyson hitting somebody with the full force of his knuckles without any padding. Like, I mean, it's a little bit beneficial for the fucking person taking the blow too, right? Like, it protects your
Yeah.
hands and the person somewhat. And holy shit, the damage he did with boxing gloves on, I can't imagine him with bare knuckles.
Even
like,
at
what the hell would
53,
you have
he'd
to
scare
pay
the
somebody to
shit
take
out of
a
me.
punch from him with bare knuckles?
Well, fuck, if it was me, I'd just take a dive because you see how hard his heads snap back.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, with the gloves on, you see how hard people's heads snap back. Now, take away the glove and the cushion, and I know he's 50, whatever, but even if he's got half the power he used to, bare knuckle, he'll turn your face into a golf divot, man. It'd just be a crater. Fucking done.
I'm not even so sure with him it was so much pure power as it was fucking like rage or something, you know? He had some
He
sort
was a
of
very
thing where
driven
he
dude,
just
right?
really wanted to kill people.
Yeah. He'd punch you in half if he could do it.
Not a great boxer. Like definitely not in the top X of anything if you ever want to watch technique or anything, but
Yeah.
man,
but I mean,
that guy punch.
There's those guys like Ricky Hatton. They're fighters, not a boxer. You know, Floyd Mayweather. You know, Lennox Lewis. They could
Lennox
dance
Lewis.
around. They had the technique, and they're boxers, technicians.
Mhm.
Some guys are just
That's where
fighters, right?
the sweet
Mike Tyson's
science,
a
right?
fighter.
He's a
Right,
killer.
exactly.
Mike Tyson's a killer.
Yeah, he's just a weapon. Period. And like I said, I'd take a dive. Oh, sounds like cake time at my house.
Well,
anyway.
let's wrap up this show then, because we've
Yeah, I think we're getting pretty close.
we've hit all our targets. But any other little tidbits anybody wants to throw in before we call it a great little Monday evening?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Oh, I mentioned Eli Manning. Follow him on Twitter. Looks fun.
Follow at MattMan100 on Twitter too.
Because I tweet about once every fucking 6 months.
6 months, almost to the day, you will get a new tweet.
But-
And it will be
but it's a gooder.
insightful and forgetful. But fun
Yeah.
for everyone. Are you back on Twitter yet, Heath?
No, I need like another week or two because, blood pressure and I'm just wicked busy right now. So
Okay, everybody,
I don't
fill
want to fall
up.
down the rabbit hole.
Fill up
I
at
might fall down the rabbit hole.
fill up at H Degelman on Twitter, and when he
Thanks.
checks it in a week or two, when he finally gets over it, he'll have lots of stuff to read. And
Yeah,
if you're really
I'm
bored,
back,
be sure to follow at Kyle Bottcher.
yes, if you're really bored,
Yeah.
you can follow me. I don't post much, but hey, whatever. It's good times.
just topless selfies in the bathroom, right, buddy?
That's right.
We know. It's all good.
Well, for Heath and Matt, I'm Kyle. This has been another episode of Above Average Joes, and we'll catch you next Monday. Laters.
Later.